Live from the Export Beer Garden studio, this is the agenda for the last day of January, the 31st, 2024.
The Agenda, an alternative commentary collective podcast.
One of those short weeks for people living in Auckland at the moment, and the Wednesday thing sort of crept up on a lot of people. There's a lot of people around the office who think it's Tuesday. There's a lot of people who have been coming up. I mean, our very own Adam was just saying, I thought it was Tuesday today. There's a BYC podcast to be recorded later on this afternoon.
Yeah, the highlight of my week, the BYC podcast, is listening to Dylan Cleaver and Paul Ford stitch up Jason Hoyt with another name that's completely made up that he reads out off the list. It's one of my highlights, actually.
It's one of my highlights in life. I remember one time we got the entire Laneway catering lineup read up by him on air.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. Taco Laco.
Hey, Jace, I had Taco Laco for dinner last night, and they're playing at Laneway. It's one of the greats that'll be out later on today. We'll be talking about something that they're doing as well later on this podcast. But let's start at the top with a bit of rugby league. Wayne Bennett has officially applied for the Kiwis coaching job.
Has he officially done that? Or I just thought there were rumours he said, yeah, mate, I wouldn't mind having a go at the Kiwis.
No, he's filed his official application for the job, and he said in a press conference yesterday, that doesn't mean I have the job. I've just applied. There's going to be a lot of other strong contenders, but I've just thrown my hat in the ring. Surely he just tells them, I'll have that, thanks.
100%.
Yeah.
There's no way that anyone else is getting that job. They're not going to give it to anyone else.
No. So Mal Meninga is the other strong candidate. And, you know, that's a very powerful candidate, but it doesn't trump Wayne Bennett.
Yeah.
The job's been made vacant because Michael Maguire, who wants to coach Origin, New Zealand Rugby League, said, you can't coach Origin and the Kiwis. And everyone that follows Rugby League said, why can't you? You definitely fucking can.
Yeah, it's some sort of clash. I don't know, some sort of conflict of interest.
They don't play at the same time. I guess maybe they thought he would try and poach Kiwi players or change eligibility to try and play State of O. I don't really know. The long and short of it is the job is available, and now Wayne Bennett, is applying for it. He was the assistant coach under Stephen Kearney when we won the 2008 Rugby League World Cup back in the day. And he's basically going into semi-retirement because this is his last year with the Dolphins coming up. So then after that, he's 74 years old. So
what?
He's old as dirt. So he's going to be 75 years old. And obviously, all he's done his entire life is worked in rugby league, so he doesn't know what to do other than work in rugby league. This is the perfect job for him. Kiwis don't play again until October, so he just sees this year out, and then he goes into the semi-retirement sort of thing, where he, just potters around in his garden or whatever, and then for about 2 months every year, he goes and coaches the boys again. I reckon this is perfect for him.
This is great. I want to see him sideline, backhanding a rollie, and just coaching the Kiwis. I mean, he's one of the greats. He is one of the GOATs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, New Zealand Rugby League, I hope they don't go through an interview process, because imagine Zooming Wayne Bennett.
That's what I was going to ask.
Can you talk us through your weaknesses, Wayne? And he'd be like, fuck up, cunt.
And who interviews him?
I don't know.
Who's the person?
So what's your, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time, Wayne?
When you're 79, Wayne.
It's like, Wayne, your microphone's not on. I'm glad it's not on, actually. It looks like he's quite angry.
Probably dead, to be fair. At 74 years, I mean, I can't imagine still working at 74 and still taking on another high. I mean, it's a high-pressure job for most people, but for Wayne Bennett, it's pretty low stakes, isn't it?
He hasn't done any work. He's a head coach.
Yeah.
He gives the rousing speeches, slaps a couple around the back of the head, tells them not to go out in the piss, don't be fucking snorting cocaine at nightclubs and then turning up to training. That kind of carry on.
Yeah, but it's good that the Kiwis' job's become such a sought-after job now. You know, everybody is falling over themselves. Do you think that a Kiwi should have to coach the Kiwis?
No.
Yeah, I agree.
Imagine if that rule was worldwide, there'd be no rugby coaches.
Yeah,
every rugby coach in the world is a Kiwi.
Yeah,
even I was watching the Six Nations doco on Netflix. Like everyone's doing docos on Netflix, and the Italian team are coached by Kieran Crowley and Neil Barnes.
Oh, is that right?
And it's funny because you got all these Italians and you got these Kiwis going, "Get out there and smash these cunts, okay?" And you got these Italians going,
Yeah.
Not going to pende.
You couldn't get much further from Italy to Barnsley as the Taranaki coach.
Yeah.
It's like Naki hardcore.
Becky hardcore and Crowley's hardcore as well. Is it Kieran Crowley? I think so. Is it? I mean, look, I'll have to search that up. I'm pretty sure
look into that one. But I completely agree. There's so many people who are like, oh, no, it should be a Kiwi. I mean, rugby league, obviously we've got a strong, proud history of rugby league in this country, but it is for the most part an Australian sport. So why not have the best of the best? And if Wayne Bennett's willing to put his hat in the ring.
Totally. And yeah, it's Kieran Crowley.
Yeah.
He's a kid. I mean, yeah, and then you've got old what's his face going over
Meninga?
to Aussie. Schmitty.
Oh, yeah, Joe
Schmitty's
Schmidt.
going to Aussie. You got Jamie Joseph's coaching, was coaching Japan before. I mean, I don't. If it got in the way that he's not a Kiwi, then grow up.
Yeah, 100%. Well, actually, on that note, there's going to be a party at Razzie Erasmus's because Tony Brown has officially signed as assistant coach with the Springboks.
Interesting.
Yeah, so obviously he was, wearing the hell out of a cheese cutter in the coaching box for Japan with Jamie Joseph as well, and he'd been all around the world. I thought this was a really interesting one because, first of all, would you want to work for Razzie Erasmus?
Be fun.
Do you think so?
I reckon it'd be a crack. I reckon it'd be great fun. It'd be like why people work for Razor, I guess, but in a South African term, because Razzie doesn't. All he cares about is his team in South Africa and gets in trouble for it. And I think Yappies love that about him.
Yeah, right.
And I think so. He's quite loved in his home country, so I think he's quite revered. I think he won them a World Cup.
He did.
So I think it'd be quite fun because who knows what he would say. And you'd like.
I know what he would say.
Yeah.
You must fuck them up. You must fuck them up. Have you seen those videos of him in the locker room? Like, you must fuck them up. I just couldn't deal with the passag of that whole light system that he devised during the World Cup.
What is up with that?
Could you imagine being down on the sideline and you're one of the coaches, the assistant coaches, you're calling out a couple of plays, you're making a couple of decisions down on the sideline, and then you've got this dickhead who's been like banned from the sidelines by the international rugby, and he's sitting up there fucking furiously hitting the button on his lights.
I reckon it's bullshit. I reckon the lights are bullshit.
You reckon it's a
I
ruse?
reckon it's a huge ruse because they'll be like, what's he cooking up? And really, he's just turning off and on a lamp.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I reckon he could be
I don't think he's smart enough.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe they've given him a little decoy. Here you go, Razzie. Here's a couple of lights. You can press this one and this one.
And we'll do that.
Yeah. And then they're down on the sideline like, yes, Razzie, okay, we'll do that. No, we're not fucking doing that.
Okay, Razzie, we're going to do that, okay, mate?
Yes, it's my bro.
Yes,
The orange one now, yeah.
I think I could have bitten his ear right off.
Yeah.
But Tony Brown, has he got some background? He played a bit of Super Rugby in South Africa. So I think he's got a bit of form over there. So that's not out of the blue that T-Bone's gone over there.
Yes, yeah, he did. But he's one of the most revered he was a cult hero as a player and then became even more so as a coach in 2015.
He's a great example of a vibe guy, I reckon.
Big vibe guy.
Big vibe guy. People like him. People like having him around and they want to play for him, which is half the battle being a coach. You don't want to have a team that's playing to spite you.
Yes.
You have the team that plays for you. That's why Razor's great.
Yeah.
And that's why Vittori's done quite well because I think he's ingratiates himself to teams and this guy's a GC.
Yeah.
Let's win games for him so we could have him around more.
And you do need a certain level of cachet with these guys, like a Vittori where he's been there, done all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So when he tells you to do something, you have to fucking listen to him.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's some other guy who's like an X's and O's guy but never played to the top flight, like no one's really going to listen to him. It's just happened in the NBA where the Greek Freaks team, the Bucks, sacked their coach, and they'd only lost like 10 games or something. They were 30-something in 10. And but it was just the vibe. They hated him. They didn't like the guy, and so he's gone.
Well, look at Langer. Justin Langer,
Yes,
he won them in Ashes, won them a World Cup.
Yeah.
And old Cumdog Millionaire turns around and goes, this guy's a dick.
Yeah.
He makes us walk around in bare feet and feel the earth beneath us like a real wounder. I could coach the team. And everyone's going, yeah, you're right, get rid of him. So they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's big vibes.
Yeah. So T-Bone, Tony Brown's the same. He looks like a good bastard.
Yeah.
And shame that he's going to South Africa, but can't wait to hear some stories out of him from what Razzie gets up to.
Yeah, 100%. I just put a pop quiz down there on the run sheet. Can you name the current Springboks coach?
What do you mean?
Do you know who the coach of the Springboks is?
Is it not Razzie Erasmus?
No, it's Jacques Nienaber. Razzie was not the coach at the World Cup either.
What was he?
I don't know. Because
Head of rugby or something?
Yeah, something like head
That's
of high
bullshit.
performance or some bullshit like that.
Bullshit like head of rugby. So he's the coach's boss. So he's the head coach.
That's right, yeah. It's like when they make these sort of bizarre positions up and they're like, all right, you oversee rugby operations or whatever. Because he got banned from the sidelines, remember?
I see. I know why they've done this.
Why?
Because he's not the coach, so you can't ban the coach. He's just an administrator, technically.
Yes. So what happened was he put, remember he went through that phase of putting 2-hour-long rants up on YouTube? He would sit in his office and he would just rant about the referees for 2 straight hours. It's insane. I once, very hungover, sat down and watched the entirety of one of them.
What's wrong with you?
They are fucking insane. And he's just tearing into the refs.
Refs mainly.
And so, the World Rugby was just like, oh, no, you can't do that. You are now banned from being the coach. So then there was a whole thing where he was running the water. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So he was running the water and running messages out there.
Imagine that crazy bastard running on like, and he's like, what you got to do? You got to fuck them up.
What you're not doing right now is fucking them up. And so then they were like, all right, well, you now can't be the water boy. You can't be the coach. You're not allowed on the sideline. So now he's up in the fucking boxes there.
As a director of rugby or
some sort of administrative role, and that's where he devised the light situation.
I love it how he's just running. He's just running from the jurisdiction of the IRB. It's like we can ban coaches, water boys, like sports staff. This guy he's like a Slater. We keep lifting up the rock and he runs to the next one. He just gets under it. I like him because he makes things interesting. That's why I like Razor. That's why I think this will be the most interesting year of international rugby for a very long time, because you've got these crazy mofos running it.
Yeah, 100%. And then on top of that, you got so much movement after the World Cup. You know, every team's basically starting from scratch.
Yeah.
So it's going to be wild. I don't know if you saw that Luke Jacobson just got announced as the captain of your beloved Chiefs.
Captain America. Good boy. He's a good man.
I mean, this has been a long time coming. I think from the moment he turned about 18 and rocked up to Chiefs training with that big square jaw.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, you will be our captain one day.
He's built for it.
Yeah,
he's built for it. And, it's going to be a big season for him too, because we lost a few players. Got Retallick, a few senior players gone out of the Chiefs. Yeah, Sam Kane. So, yeah. Okay.
Peter Gus is gone.
Hey,
and you guys didn't even do that well last year. Anyway, sorry, Kara.
A little bit of a scoop here. There's some warm-up games coming up for Super Rugby.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them is Blues Chiefs at Only One Domain.
Oh.
And McConey and I are commentating that.
Is that right?
On NZR Plus. So it's free.
Oh, wow.
So you can give it a hoon on NZR Plus. Look, I mean, it may be the first or last time we ever work with NZR Plus, but especially when they work out how massively biased we are. I got hit up actually at the Karaka Millions.
Yeah.
A Canterbury guy from Canterbury, a couple of kids from Canterbury. They're only like 21, 22.
Yeah.
One was at uni, one was, I think, working at supermarkets. His goal was to own a New World. He's going to be rich. And he was like, love your commentary, but man, when the Chiefs play, I really hate you and McConey because you just go. And I'm like, well, that's what it feels like for us to watch a Canterbury game or anything to do with Canterbury.
Even in the mainstream media, they're kind of biased towards Canterbury.
Yeah. So I was like, but I said, we're unashamedly, though, we don't try and hide the fact that we're impartial. We are massively biased at any Chiefs game.
Completely open that we are completely biased towards our own teams, and we won't shy away from that fact. Because the irony is we're probably a little bit more objective across the whole versus the mainstream media who claim to be objective but actually have massive bias.
Yeah.
So we're just like, look, we're just going to address this straight up the top. I fucking love the Crusaders. Everyone else can get fucked. And now you know where I stand, you know? There's no...
Totally.
What's he up to?
So download the NZR Plus app because those few warm-up games are going to have a hoon at a few of those.
Yeah. All right. We'll have a quick break and we'll be back with a little bit of EPL action, though. All right. Taking a break from the tradition of not covering the round ball at all here at the ACC.
Look, I like football.
Yep.
I have worked in football. I'm nothing against it. The Phoenix are going great, top of the table over in Australia, which is a big deal.
That's huge.
And we'll probably get really excited when the playoffs arrive.
Yes.
But you got some news out of the EPL that has tickled our
Yes.
fancy.
Yeah, for the meantime, let's stay in the weeds where we dwell with the dumb shit of the sporting world. Marcus Rashford has pulled the oldest trick in the book. He was reportedly seen in a Belfast night spot last week and later reported himself ill. He didn't show up for training, so apparently this was 2 nights in a row. Then he didn't show up for training on the 3rd day. He faces a fine of 2 weeks' wages, which for those of you playing at home is $1.35 million in New Zealand for partying and missing training. And this has violated one of the few rules that I have for myself.
Yeah.
And that is, do your hangovers on the clock.
Yeah.
Always do your hangovers on the clock. If you have a physical job, you'll sweat it out by smoko.
Yeah.
If you have an office job, just keep your head down and pound coffees.
Yeah.
There is no excuse for taking a day off, sick leave, to be hungover. If you're going to be hungover, get paid for it. And I strongly believe in that.
And also, there's some basics around the night before and what you put on your social media.
Yes.
You can't go out all weekend at festivals, have you pinging off your head at 3 in to chasing status and then not turn up for work on Monday because you're not feeling well. Everyone's like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You've been partying all weekend to some filthy drum and bass.
Yeah.
And now you've suddenly got ill.
Yeah.
It's like, harden up.
Yeah, 100%. It's just reminded me of someone who's done that recently in our workplace. But yeah, it's one, obviously the social media of it all, but also you're right, piss up, front up, and you can turn it from a loss into a victory very quickly because if you show up and people know how big of a week you've had,
Respect.
This guy's still here. And the only way to really go through it is you show up and you go harder than everyone else, and then you sort of get away with a little bit because history's full of these stories about sportsmen who have fucked off and done something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman, if you watch the Last Dance documentary, and he went to the WWE for a bit. There's all sorts of different stories about these kind of things. But when those guys, the reason these stories are so great is because those guys came back and dominated. You know, Dennis Rodman came back, got 30 rebounds. Kobe Bryant came back from a trial in Colorado. A little bit dodgy. And then he put up points as well.
Well, Corey Jane and Izzy Dag went out on the Red Bulls and the sleeping pills through Takapuna and came to in someone's kitchen partying at 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
3 days later, both played the games of their lives. I think Izzy Dag got player of the day.
Yeah.
And smashed Argentina, was it, in Eden Park?
Yeah.
One of the great comebacks of all time. Again, respect. They turned up. They had a blowout.
Yes.
Turned up and played the games of their lives because of that.
That's right. So someone needs to explain this to Marcus Rashford. I mean, he's been around the scene for long enough. He should know.
I don't think so. Marcus Rashford plays for Man U, plays for England, probably been earning that amount of ping since he was like 17 years old.
I can remember about a decade ago him playing.
Yeah, so, yeah, look, I mean, we've all been there. I mean, I've with the front up, what's it, piss up,
front up.
Yeah, I took that to an extreme in I think it was my first year of employment in Auckland. I worked for ZM as the promotions manager, and we had a survey function which ended up at Showgirls for some reason.
Powerful.
And yeah, I know, quite powerful. And I had the awareness to work out that if I go home, I'm not going to come back for some time. So I slept under my desk.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, but I had a Showgirls trucker hat on and fistfuls of show dollars in my pocket. And I woke up under my desk and I didn't know where I was. And the breakfast show were trying to put my hand into a bucket of warm water to see if I'd fire truck. And I woke up going, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "What? Nothing." And I'll be like, "Oh, okay." And I got rid of the bowl of water, sat up at my desk, removed the money folded it up, put it on my desk, opened my laptop and sat there and begun work at 6:30 in the morning with my Showies hat on, pumped out 12 hours, went home.
Yeah, that's exactly how you need to operate. You probably didn't know it was a Showgirls hat, did you?
No.
Because you just pulled it low over
No, I
your
didn't.
eyes,
And someone goes, "Where'd you get that hat from?" I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I've been buying merch. I got fistfuls of show money.
Yeah.
It was a hell of a night. And then people would pop their head in the office and goes, "Hell of a night." We're like, "Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah." I was only like 21 years old.
Yeah. Well, see, when you're 21, you can bounce back from that stuff a little bit quicker.
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. This is advice for anyone, whether you make $1.35 million a fortnight or not. Piss up, front up. That's very simple stuff. Let's get on to a bit of cricket. Former Aussies have piled on their team after their loss to the West Indies.
I love an Aussie pile on.
Yeah, and they love piling on as well.
Yeah.
Because this is such Australian sportsman behaviour. But basically all of the old guys are piling on them for the way that they reacted to losing that game, and that they should all have their tails between their legs. And
Yes.
so Ian Healy has heaped on Pat Cummins, saying that he wasn't happy with his reaction to losing. Like, he said, obviously it's good for the game, but if you're a player, you shouldn't be reacting like that. You just lost to an understrength West Indies side. And so he was shitting on them. Tim Payne's come out as well. He said, I get it from a fan's point of view. It annoys me when I hear past players commentating and almost barracking. So he's going in on the commentators. I find that really hard to listen to. It was awesome for the Windies. It was not great for Australia. Wasn't a great performance. I just don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. Why are you barracking against your team that you played in?
So, sorry, this is the same Tim Payne with the dick pics and stuff?
Yeah, the dick pic guy.
Okay, so he's come out of the dick pic closet.
Yes.
And he's saying to weigh in. Like, I mean, Pat Cummins goes, dude, you just get back to sex pesting some sports administrators with your penis and let me run the testing.
Yes.
I knew, and poor Adam Gilchrist has been given shit for hugging Brian Lara in the commentary box when they won.
Yeah.
It's like, this is classic Aussie. Like, they just fucking hate when you fucking disrespect the backing green.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. I honestly think Windies in the test arena at the moment they're a minnow, aren't they? Really?
Oh, my God. They are so deprived of their best players due to T20. It's unbelievable.
So losing to them, I mean, beating up on them as the Australian Test cricket team in Australia, that means nothing. Also, losing to them in this one-off fashion, that doesn't really change people's perception of Australia either. They are still probably the best Test cricket team in the world.
Oh, totally. And I love nothing better than a former Aussie player pylon.
Yeah.
They're the best at it. They got no qualms about just piling in. I love it. I actually probably makes it more interesting. It'd be good if New Zealand did that as well, but everyone's too busy predicting either coaching jobs or commentary jobs.
Yeah, is that a big part of it? Because I noticed that, like, the Mitchell Johnson, David Warner thing that happened recently, like, that stuff never happens in New Zealand, and I think I know why. It's because it's too small a pond.
Yeah.
You will see that guy again at the supermarket. You will see him, wherever you go.
I'd take that back about Tim Payne, like him getting back into his dick pic closet. Like, he's got nothing to lose, is he? He's just like, I'm just going to fire Hail Marys out. Yeah. Along with my penis.
How can you kill that with no life? He's already been cancelled, so what does it matter? He might as well just go fucking hell for leather. He should have sent them a dick pic.
Hey, so the two tests are over. Now the Windies have got 1 dayers against Australia.
So the first ODI is on Friday, and not to spoil the BYC podcast, but I saw Joe Jury poring over the stats this morning, and he's very keen on a big vibe punt, and that's the Windies to win the first ODI on Friday. That's paying $5.45. So I think part of it is that the juicy odds he really likes.
Yeah.
But do you think that the Windies will be riding high and that will help them in this ODI, or do you think Aussie will come out and fuck them up?
Rassie Erasmus will be in the changing room of the. It's definitely a vibe punt.
Yeah.
But you'd have to be a brave man to bet against the Australians.
Yes.
Especially the Windies. But look, you never know. Like you're saying, they would have had a hell of a week post that test match victory. And they'll have, more than usual, some BDC.
Yeah, but they'll also have some hangovers, I reckon. And I know I said do them on the clock. That doesn't mean you're immune from the effects of a hangover. It just means you're at work while you're doing it.
No, I reckon, yeah.
Oh, because I reckon they would have gone hard after that game.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? But then you can compete now, and you know that Australia are potentially vulnerable. Yeah. But then again, you got Australia going fully Rassie Erasmus on them.
Yeah, well, they've all got dick pics from Tim Payne, so they'll all be furious and not wanting that to happen again. So yeah, I don't know. $5.45 is good eating though if you do think that the Windies will be riding high.
Oh yeah, I've also used the TAB Game Day Good Punt for the daily agenda.
Oh yes.
On a 4-way multi on the under-19 men's Cricket World Cup.
Oh, yeah. Real degenerate stuff.
Yeah. It's only paying $2.77. I got on all the favourites to win that. They're all happening tonight because we're in the Super Sixes now.
It's quite a long tournament, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Cricket World Cup. I think the Super Sixes begin on that soon as well.
Yeah.
But, keep an eye on that one.
Alrighty. Time for one more quick break and then we'll be back with your talkbacks. All right, Lane, as you well know, on the iHeart Radio app, we've got a feature whereby you can hit the little microphone button and leave a message. It is a little segment we like to call Yours Please.
Yours, please. Brought to you by Leader, home of the lasagna topper.
It's a powerful sting, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yours, please. It'd be good if we could actually get Murray Deaker to do that sting. Yours, please, because obviously that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Yours, please.
I don't think, I don't know how big his appetite is for that kind of thing, although he did do a stellar promo for us.
Oh, yeah, home of nonsense and claptrap.
Home of Nonsense and Claptrap.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, you can get in touch on the iHeart Radio app, as this caller has. Caller, yours, please.
Hey babes, Long John Johnson here. Is it just me, or does Benji Marshall look like the grumpiest human being on planet Earth? As soon as he took that job at the Tigers, his eyebrows have developed this deadly frown. I would hate to take a question to him at training. Love you babes, bless, bless, bless.
Shout out to Long Don Johnson. Long Dong Johnson? Long John Johnson?
I don't know. Anyway, I haven't seen any pictures or videos or anything of Benji, so
Benji?
I can't comment.
I have, and he doesn't look like a happy camper.
Why? I mean, look, why would you, though, be in charge of that schmozzle?
Since he started at the Tigers, he was announced as the coach, and he was going to take over in like 2 or 3 years' time. They brought in a bloke to Tim Sheens to run a review of the organisation. He ran the review, and the findings of the review were he should sack everyone and then put himself in as coach, and then Benji will be coach in a couple of years. And then only after a year, he then resigned, putting Benji in for this year. The board then get entirely sacked. They've brought in one guy now, and Benji's basically the last man standing.
Oh.
They've made a couple of good signings. Jerome Luai, who's not coming for another year. Again, we've talked ad nauseum about how bullshit the NRL transfer window is.
Yeah.
So Benji's basically said, I'm not going to talk about Jerome Luai because it's a discredit.
He's not here.
He's not here. It's a discredit to the guys that are here. We've got a season to play. So yeah, he does when he's being asked all these questions, because you can obviously tell that there's certain things he can and can't say, and you don't want to let the media in on how much of a shit show it is there. But one ray of hope is that Greg Inglis, the big GI, one of the greatest rugby players of all time, he's been seen around the camp. He's wearing full Tigers kit, and apparently he's been brought in to work with their superstar fullback, Jareem Buller, who you wouldn't have heard of.
No.
He had a breakout season last year, and so they brought the big GI in to sort of help him with becoming a superstar almost overnight. Again, not quite a superstar because people haven't heard of him, but you will by the end of this season. And so that's probably the only ray of sunshine. But yeah, this is not the smiling baby-faced assassin from Whakatane Touchfields,
Throwing out hot steps.
throwing out hop steps and flick passes in grand finals and shit like that. This is a man with a 9-to-5 stressful job.
Hey, speaking of stressful, in the weekend at the Red Bull cliff diving,
Yes. Benji Marshall was there.
No, I saw Sean Johnson.
Oh.
And I can verify it was him.
Okay.
I know there's been rumours that my family can't tell the difference. But he had a moon boot on.
Yeah. So this has been a story for a while. He's been in and out of the moon boot, and they were saying, "Oh no, don't worry about it. He's actually fine, and he's back training with the team." But
You look really moon booty injury to me.
yeah, hopefully it's a precautionary thing.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if you ran the Warriors and he had like a little tweak in his foot,
Oh, I'd put him in full body like
bubble suit,
bubble suit, like armor, the whole lot.
You put him in the iron lung
Yeah.
and just wheel him around, and then wait for the season to start. So, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what I'm praying.
Hey,
But
okay.
but I think if it was that bad and you were in the moon boot, you probably wouldn't go out in public if you
Yeah, it's true.
know.
Yeah.
Although, do our nerves all a favour, Sean, and don't.
I know. Just don't go out in public.
Either don't go out in public or don't wear the moon boot or something. I don't know. All right, time to mop up the news of the day. You sent this story into the group chat last night.
Yep.
This is one of my favourites, and I wanted to just let you explain it. But then I read the article, and it word for word is one of the greatest articles I've ever seen. So if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind reading the article.
Go for it.
To you. An Australian man has escaped jail for visiting a Hungry Jack's drive-thru with a visible erection after claiming he was suffering from the effects of super Viagra.
I don't know that was like. Did he take just 2 Viagras?
No.
Okay.
But this is the thing. This story just starts off with, that's the weirdest first sentence. The second one, even weirder. David Richardson, a farrier, first of all. how many Farriers are left in the world. A Farrier from Humpty Doo.
Is that Humpty Doo? Is that a real...
Is that a town? Is that a company? A Farrier from Humpty Doo pleaded guilty last week in Darwin local court and was given good behaviour bond. His lawyer, Pete Maley, told the court the client had taken a substance known as Pitbull Super, which is a super Viagra. The substance contains multiple erectile dysfunction medicines and promises on the packet to give a man an erection that lasts for days.
Why would you want one that lasts for days?
Well, we'll get to that. It had the desired effect, Maley noted. After enjoying his time with, in quotes, a number of young ladies, the 51-year-old Richardson reportedly remained rigid, and when his penis began to split, he started to panic. So he went for a feed. Maley explained that Richardson's genitals were too sensitive to wear shorts, so he draped a towel over the affected area and went through the drive-thru of Hungry Jack's, the home of the Whopper, across the ditch. This is Burger King in New Zealand, if you don't know. The Northern Territory News reported that his tumescence, that's a hell of a word, was witnessed by a 16-year-old worker who was reduced to tears by the experience. I cannot blame them. The case's bizarre details have made headlines worldwide, and in Australia, publications such as the Northern Territory News dined out on the fast food fiasco. Boners are better at Hungry Jack's, the paper thundered in a front-page headline, describing Richardson's actions as a Whopper fallacy. Is this not one of the greatest stories of all time?
It is one of the greatest excuses for whacking off in a drive-through, I've heard. That's what I read into that.
You've seen through the Matrix.
Yeah, seen through the Matrix. He's sitting in his car with no pants, with a towel over himself, flogging himself off, and to a 16-year-old girl. And now he's come up with this elaborate excuse.
Yeah.
So I imagine that David Richardson, 51, from Dumpty Doo in the Northern Territory, is not a looker. And his claim of being with a number of young ladies
is either illegitimate or they were paid.
Yeah, I was going to add of the night.
Yes,
is missing there. I don't know. I just think this is a chronic public masturbator who's come up with this elaborate ruse to get off the sex register.
Yeah, and it looks like it's worked as well. Let's try and get our hands on the Pitbull Super.
No. Also, I could see through the Matrix when he's like, his dick started to hurt, so he went and got a feed.
But it split.
It split.
And he started panicking.
If my penis is on the verge of splitting, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not going to Macca's drive-through.
What? You're not going to try and get a Whopper?
What is he going to do? Like, put a soft serve on it? Like, you go to hospital first. Not go through a drive-through and whack off to a 16-year-old chick who's working behind the counter. Reduced it to tears. So I mean, something's happening there. You don't reduce someone to tears with an erection under a towel.
No, you don't. No,
something else is happening.
Something else is happening.
He's honking the hog.
He's up to no good, David Richardson, the Farrier from Humpty Doo. Still don't know if that's a business or a town.
The Pitbull Super.
Pitbull Super.
Is that prescription, do you think, or do you think that's more of a...
I don't know too many doctors are prescribing Pitbull Super to people.
No, it's got a very barley vibe to it, doesn't it?
It's a real gas station dick pill sort of vibe. But
anyway, look, hey, let's hope he's okay.
Yeah,
let's hope the split has healed.
Sure. I can't imagine it would have. This guy seems like a real deviant.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have given it time to heal.
Well, thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers. All right, that'll do us for today. We'll be back again tomorrow for a Thursday edition of the Agenda Podcast.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda Podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on iHeart Radio or wherever you get your podcasts.